Kazuya plunged into the sea without hesitation, propelled by a sense of urgency to save Chizuru. As he swam deeper, his heart raced with fear as he spotted her motionless form at the ocean's floor. Despite knowing that Chizuru was just a rental girlfriend, forbidden to become more than that, Kazuya couldn't bear the thought of losing her to the unforgiving depths. Thankfully, Kazuya managed to reach Chizuru in time, grasping her hand tightly and guiding her to safety on the sandy shore. As she regained consciousness, Chizuru found herself lying on the beach, with Kazuya nearby. Overwhelmed with guilt for inadvertently endangering her client's life, she desperately tried to rouse him from his unconscious state, but he remained motionless. With no one else in sight, panic began to set in as Chizuru realized the gravity of the situation. Realizing that calling for help would be futile in their isolated situation, Chizuru resorted to performing CPR in a desperate attempt to revive Kazuya. Amidst her panic, guilt, and frustration at his reckless actions, she couldn't shake off the annoyance of him risking his life for someone who was merely his rental girlfriend. However, her emotions took a tumultuous turn when Kazuya moved slightly, prompting tears to well up in her eyes as she recalled the words of those who cared about him. Meanwhile, a sudden commotion erupted on the beach due to an incident involving a ferry. Kibei's attention was immediately drawn to the conversation, his eyes widening upon hearing about a man in an orange shirt, a detail that matched Kazuya's attire. Concern also gripped Mami as she overheard the discussion. As Kazuya regained consciousness, he initially believed he had passed away. Chizuru performed CPR and mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, causing Kazuya to abruptly sit up upon realizing their lips had touched. Despite his shock, Chizuru quickly apologized for the unintended intimacy. Soon after, Coast Guards arrived to rescue them and reprimanded the duo for their risky behavior. Their friends also expressed their frustration, with Kazuya missing his meeting with Mami and spending the night in the hospital as a result. Kazuya was taken aback when Chizuru referred to herself as his girlfriend, though he later acknowledged her decision as the right one. Upon learning of their continued relationship, Kibei expressed his happiness, pleased to hear they had reconciled and called off their breakup. While recuperating in the hospital, Chizuru recalled the moment Kazuya saved her at the ocean's depths, vividly remembering the concern in his eyes. The following morning, Kazuya was discharged from the hospital and reunited with his friends waiting outside to pick him up. Eager to mend things with Mami, he approached her car, only to have her close the window, clearly upset. Despite Kazuya's hesitation to continue their relationship, Kibei advised him to stick by Chizuru's side, emphasizing the significance of Kazuya risking his life to save her. Frustrated by Kazuya's indecision, Kibei reiterated the importance of their bond, implying that such a selfless act could only be driven by love. Despite his lingering feelings for Chizuru, Kazuya remained convinced that their relationship was ultimately futile. As he grappled with his emotions, he found himself repeatedly drawn to memories of her saving him with CPR. However, he stubbornly dismissed these thoughts, convinced that her actions were merely a duty to rescue him. Meanwhile, Chizuru struggled to explain her sudden disappearance to her friends, fabricating excuses to conceal her true feelings. Kazuya's uncharacteristic behavior in her presence only added to her confusion, leading her to question the nature of their relationship. As they both grappled with their inner turmoil, their true feelings remained unspoken, buried beneath layers of denial and uncertainty. One day, Kazuya's grandma surprised him with a trip to a hot spring resort. To his amazement, he spotted Chizuru's grandma at the same resort. Expecting to encounter someone familiar, Kazuya eagerly searched the surroundings, anticipating Chizuru's presence. However, he soon realized that their visit to the resort was orchestrated by their grandmothers, who had conspired to bring them together. Placed in the same room by their grandmothers, Kazuya and Chizuru found themselves in an awkward situation. Despite their protestations, their grandmothers seemed determined to see them together and even married. Feeling the pressure, Kazuya and Chizuru had no option but to play along with the charade. As they shared a meal together in their room, Kazuya couldn't help but be captivated by Chizuru's beauty, realizing his growing feelings for her. Amidst the silence and awkwardness, Chizuru made a simple request for Kazuya to sleep beside her, but he misunderstood her intentions. She simply didn't want him to feel uncomfortable sleeping in the hallway. As night fell, Kazuya found himself unable to sleep, his mind consumed with thoughts of Chizuru. He pondered over what their interactions meant and recalled Kibei's observations about her. Unable to shake off his thoughts, Kazuya found himself admiring Chizuru's maturity, strength, kindness, and integrity. He realized his growing desire to know her better. As Kazuya poured out his heart to Chizuru, believing she was asleep, he found the courage to express his true feelings. Confessing that he felt changed and inspired to grow when he was with her, Kazuya was taken aback when Chizuru responded, revealing she had been awake all along. Despite this unexpected turn, a few days later, they appeared together as a couple once more, effortlessly slipping back into their facade of a happy and functional relationship. However, during a discussion at their usual cafe, where they typically arranged rental transactions, their true feelings and complexities of their relationship began to surface. Once again, Kazuya and Chizuru found themselves renegotiating the terms and conditions of their unique relationship. With Chizuru playing the role of his girlfriend, they agreed that it would strictly remain a business arrangement, allowing Kazuya to be honest with his reviews. However, their conversation was interrupted when they unexpectedly ran into one of Kazuya's friends, who happened to be on a date. To their surprise, they were invited to a double date the following Saturday. While Kazuya's eyes widened at the thought of having to rent and pay for another date, they both knew they couldn't refuse the invitation. Lost in his thoughts on the way home, Kazuya couldn't shake off the disbelief of his friend Kuri landing a girlfriend, considering he wasn't exactly a ladies' man. As he pondered this, he was abruptly knocked over by a running short-haired girl, both of them tumbling to the ground. Clearly in a hurry, she hastily apologized before dashing off. Before he knew it, Saturday had arrived, marking the day of their double date. Still reeling from his friend's newfound relationship, Kazuya was taken aback when Kuri arrived with the same short-haired girl he had bumped into earlier. Introduced as Sarashina Ruka, she bore a striking resemblance to Chizuru in terms of looks and charm. Kazuya caught Chizuru shooting him a disapproving glare as Kuri demonstrated free climbing techniques to them. Both girls were thoroughly impressed by the display. When it was Chizuru's turn to attempt the climb, Kazuya couldn't help but feel a lump in his throat as he watched her ascend, her physique commanding his attention. However, when it came to Kazuya's turn, his attempt was embarrassingly short-lived as he fell within seconds. Feeling dejected by his lackluster performance, he couldn't help but compare himself to Chizuru, who seemed to be thoroughly enjoying herself. Kazuya's spirits were lifted slightly when he noticed that Kuri's girlfriend had a similar struggle with the climb, eliciting a shared moment of camaraderie between them. Intrigued by her reaction, Kazuya's curiosity was piqued. Kazuya couldn't help but express his curiosity to Kuri, asking him how he managed to win over his girlfriend despite their lack of conventional attractiveness and financial stability. He was desperate for some guidance on how to approach a girl who seemed out of his league. Kuri's response was straightforward: be a man. Kazuya couldn't help but feel disheartened, realizing that the qualities associated with being a man were the very traits he felt he lacked. As Kazuya mulled over his insecurities, Chizuru, unaware of his internal struggle, offered him words of encouragement. Little did she know that his feelings for her ran deeper than those for Mami. Chizuru handed Kazuya a drink, reminding him not to misinterpret her gesture. It was simply part of the rental girlfriend service. Kazuya accepted the drink, albeit a bit disappointed by the reminder of their business arrangement. He decided to give free climbing another shot, hoping for better results this time. Meanwhile, Ruka struck up a conversation with Chizuru and boldly questioned whether she was a rental girlfriend. Chizuru was left speechless, taken aback by how this girl seemed to know about such a private matter. In a sudden turn of events, Ruka boldly questioned Chizuru about her status as a rental girlfriend, catching her off guard. Quick on her feet, Chizuru skillfully denied the accusation. Sensing Kazuya's panic, she promptly informed him of the situation, emphasizing the need to handle it carefully to avoid any potential fallout. With Kuri's potential reaction looming over them, Chizuru took matters into her own hands and approached Ruka to address the issue directly. Kazuya could only watch in awe as his pretend girlfriend navigated the situation with remarkable composure and confidence, marveling at her unwavering resolve. To Kazuya's astonishment, Ruka proposed an unusual test to dispel her doubts: a kiss between him and Chizuru right in front of her. Stunned by the suggestion, Kazuya watched in disbelief as Chizuru stepped forward and took charge. Her sudden move left him captivated by her beauty, unable to tear his gaze away. As she drew closer, their lips almost met before she deftly intercepted the moment, placing her hand between them to prevent any contact. With her quick thinking, she managed to conceal their fake kiss behind her phone, but Ruka remained unconvinced, still clinging to her suspicions about Chizuru's true identity as a rental girlfriend. Kazuya, sensing the potential danger of Ruka revealing their secret, swiftly devised a plan to extricate Chizuru from the awkward situation. Determined to prevent any further disclosures, he made sure to stick close to them as they walked, ensuring Ruka had no opportunity to confide in Kuri about her suspicions. Meanwhile, Kuri remained blissfully unaware of Kazuya's inner turmoil, happily engrossed in his time with his girlfriend. However, Kazuya couldn't shake off the stress of the situation, realizing that Ruka could spill the beans to Kuri at any moment. With their secret at risk of exposure, Chizuru spared no effort to keep the girl's mouth shut, knowing that their entire facade relied on maintaining their charade. Despite Kazuya's efforts to manage the situation with Ruka, he remained troubled by her intentions. Recognizing her desire to expose their secret, Kazuya trailed after her, desperate to prevent her from contacting Kuri. He pleaded with her, urging her to swear not to divulge their secret to anyone. However, as Ruka attempted to evade Kazuya, she lost her footing and tumbled down the stairs. Acting quickly, Kazuya sprang into action and caught her before she could injure herself. Though relieved to have prevented an accident, Kazuya's concerns about Ruka's intentions lingered, knowing that their secret remained precariously balanced on a knife's edge. Kazuya was taken aback by Ruka's unexpected confession, stunned by the revelation that she, too, was a rental girlfriend. Unable to process this new information on his own, he sought out Chizuru to share the startling news. However, their meeting was postponed when Kazuya rendezvoused with Kuri, only to find himself waiting alone for several hours. As Kuri arrived at their designated meeting spot, he discovered Kazuya was nowhere to be found. Perplexed, he inquired with those nearby, hoping to locate his friend. Inside the room, Kuri scanned the area, searching for any sign of Kazuya's presence. Caught in an awkward predicament with Ruka, Kazuya attempted to shield her from Kuri's view to avoid any misunderstandings. However, their efforts were in vain as Kuri stumbled upon them, prompting Kazuya to frantically deny any misconceptions and offer apologies. Much to his surprise, Ruka took the opportunity to express her gratitude for their rental date. Overhearing their exchange, Kazuya found himself at a loss for words, particularly when Kuri mistakenly believed he was already aware of the situation. Overwhelmed with embarrassment, Kazuya could only watch as Kuri hastily made his exit. Despite Kazuya's attempts to follow, he was unable to catch a glimpse of his friend, feeling the weight of the awkward revelation about Ruka's true identity. Kazuya, overwhelmed by the recent events, decided to confide in Chizuru, sharing every detail of the encounter with Kuri and Ruka. Chizuru couldn't help but sympathize with Kuri's situation and understand his friend's distress. However, their conversation was abruptly interrupted by the unexpected arrival of Ruka. Ruka, determined and resolute, made an offer that caught Kazuya off guard. She promised to keep their fake relationship and Chizuru's job a secret, on the condition that Kazuya agrees to go out with her. Kazuya found himself at a loss for words, taken aback by Ruka's unexpected confession of affection. As Ruka persistently expressed her feelings, Kazuya struggled to find a way to politely reject her advances, while Chizuru observed the situation silently. Chizuru emerged from her apartment and intervened in the conversation upon hearing Ruka's inappropriate remarks. She was visibly angered by Ruka's mention of Kazuya touching her oranges, and her shock only intensified when Ruka directed a similar question to Chizuru herself. As Ruka continued to reminisce about her interactions with Kazuya, her behavior began to seem increasingly delusional. She went as far as to threaten Chizuru with reporting her to their agency for breaking the rules. The tension escalated as the three of them moved inside to discuss the matter further, revealing Ruka's growing obsession with Kazuya. They requested Ruka to give them some time alone to talk, and once she left, Kazuya and Chizuru engaged in a serious conversation. Chizuru asked Kazuya directly if he had feelings for her, but Kazuya denied it. Although he found her cute, he didn't see her as girlfriend material, especially considering Kuri's feelings. Chizuru advised him against pursuing a relationship with Ruka, warning that she would continue to blackmail them if he gave in to her demands. Kazuya was taken aback by Chizuru's straightforwardness, but he appreciated her practical advice on handling the situation. They both recognized the seriousness of the matter and the potential consequences if Ruka decided to reveal their secret. They brainstormed a solution, eventually deciding to confide in Kuri about Chizuru's profession as a rental girlfriend, hoping it would mitigate any potential fallout from Ruka's actions. He made a daring escape through the window to evade Ruka's pursuit, hoping to keep his getaway unnoticed. As he attempted to grab onto a tree branch to aid his escape, it unexpectedly broke, causing him to fall and injure his back. Despite the pain, he pushed himself to run away as fast as possible, but Ruka caught up to him and hugged him tightly from behind. In a moment of vulnerability, he apologized to Ruka, explaining that he couldn't betray Kuri's feelings. He then mustered the courage to confess his feelings for Chizuru, which only caused Ruka to burst into tears. She was deeply infatuated with him and continued to plead for him to give her a chance, even in front of bystanders who witnessed the emotional scene. Ruka begged to become his girlfriend, despite knowing it would initially be a trial for him. Chizuru pulled Kazuya aside and urged him to agree to Ruka's request. Kazuya was taken aback by her sudden change in stance, considering it contradicted her earlier advice. Chizuru clarified that she only wanted to avoid exposing her job to others. Meanwhile, Ruka remained visibly upset and distraught by the turn of events, still reeling from the emotional revelation. Upon considering Chizuru's advice, Kazuya reluctantly agreed to Ruka's proposition. Despite his reservations, he found himself entering a provisional relationship with Ruka as per Chizuru's instructions. Consequently, he distanced himself from Chizuru entirely as the chill of winter began to settle in. With the holiday season underway, Kazuya complied with Ruka's demands, such as liking her tweets, calling her twice a day, and ensuring he never left her messages unread, all in an effort to safeguard his fake relationship with Chizuru from being exposed. Feeling uneasy about his arrangement with Ruka, Kazuya sought a way to distance himself from their unwanted relationship. However, his plans were thrown into disarray when Ruka unexpectedly appeared on campus. Panicked at the thought of her seeing them together, Kazuya scrambled to avoid a potentially awkward encounter. Despite Kazuya's attempts to create distance, Ruka persisted in her clingy and obsessive behavior, shadowing him wherever he went. Feeling pressured, he reluctantly agreed to watch a movie with her the following Saturday, finding solace in the armrest that served as a buffer between them. Meanwhile, Chizuru observed the scene from a distance, her attention briefly diverted when friends invited her to a pajama party for Christmas, an invitation she politely declined due to prior commitments. Kazuya grappled with the dilemma of distancing himself from Ruka, especially as she expressed her desire to spend Christmas together. However, he longed to spend the holiday with Mizuhara Chizuru instead. Imagining a festive Christmas Eve with Chizuru dressed as Santa Claus, Kazuya attempted to book her for the occasion, only to find that someone else had beaten him to it. Despite his disappointment, Kazuya couldn't shake the feeling that Chizuru was out of his league, leading him to ponder why she had chosen to pursue such a job, especially considering the modest earnings. On Christmas Eve, as he found himself alone, Kazuya spotted Chizuru amidst a crowd, her captivating presence drawing stares from onlookers, including himself. Concealed from view, Kazuya observed Chizuru meeting with another guy, torn between averting his gaze and mustering the courage to witness the encounter unfold. Consumed by dark thoughts, Kazuya entertained the possibility that Chizuru might already have a boyfriend. In a moment of possessiveness, He couldn't bear the idea of her being with someone else. As he trailed behind them, hidden from view, Kazuya observed Chizuru and the other guy heading to a movie theater and then exchanging gifts. Seeing Chizuru's radiant smile in the company of another person stirred jealousy within Kazuya, leaving him with a heavy heart. Feeling like a creep for trailing them all day, Kazuya sought solace in the restroom to calm his racing thoughts. To his surprise, the guy who had been with Chizuru entered the restroom, engaging in a conversation about her over the phone. Kazuya's mind raced with overthinking as he imagined the worst scenarios. Just as the guy leaned in for a kiss, Kazuya intervened, halting the moment abruptly. Chizuru, witnessing the scene, confronted Kazuya about his unexpected presence. It was then revealed that she was an actress, and the guy was merely a co-actor. Kazuya's misunderstanding left him feeling guilty and relieved at the same time. Realizing his intrusion into Chizuru's personal and professional life, Kazuya felt overwhelmed with guilt. Chizuru returned and offered him a gift, a phone case, as a token of apology. Overcome with emotion, Kazuya couldn't hold back his tears. It was a poignant moment for him, as it marked the first time a girl had ever given him a gift on Christmas.